1 year ago, I posted my very first video, discussing the lack of good food options at Chicago's Midway Airport. A lot has changed, both at the airport, as well as on this channel, and so I felt it'd be a good opportunity to see how the food at Midway is doing, review Southwest's Boeing 737-700 on a round trip from Chicago to Washington National, and discuss the past year of this channel and give a glimpse of where it's headed. So let's get started. As there's a lot to cover in this video, it will be on the longer side. Please see the timestamps if you want to skip to something in particular. Chicago's Midway Airport is located on the south side, and easily accessible on the Orange Line. From there, it's quite a hike to the terminal, especially with both the elevator and escalator out of service. After security, you arrive at the main food court between the two concourses. Sadly, nothing has changed, and there really isn't anything edible. Supposedly, this section will be renovated by the end of 2020. Exploring the A concourse, you pass under an SBD Dauntless, fished out of Lake Michigan that had crashed during a training exercise. There's a few new stores, including an FAO Schwartz. Finally, some new places, the legendary Billy Goat Tavern and a pizza place. This whole food court area is new, and there's a sushi bar and a brand new seating area. Nuts on Clark, Riley's daughter, blah blah, all the same. Hey, it's Einstein Bros, not a terrible bagel. So yeah, that's basically it in the A concourse. $75 million bought this. So, yay? The B concourse has far fewer options, and many of the moving walkways are still under renovation. This guy noticed the new camera setup. Now there's also a Big and Littles and pork chop. I bit the bullet and went to try a poke taco from Big and Littles. But they were out of food. Seriously. So I schlepped all the way back to the A concourse to try wood grain pizza. Of course, their menu boards were stuck displaying breakfast. I am noticing a pattern of unpreparedness here. I ordered a margarita pizza and took it to a cute little cubicle in the new food court area. It didn't look half bad, but it really was pretty awful. Yes, it was better than the home run in pizza I'd had last time, but the sauce was missing something, and the basil so old and bitter I had to inspect it for mold. Maybe someday Midway will have some food that isn't terrible, but that day has yet to arrive. Okay, so let's get to talking about Southwest. Southwest isn't your typical airline. It's a whole different animal. God, sorry Frontier, I know that's your motto. Southwest began back in 1967 as a scrappy Texas airline seeking to disrupt the regulated airline industry. but was limited to only flights within Texas. It was hamstrung by the Wright Amendment of 1979, which restricted Southwest flights from Dallas Love Field to only within Texas and neighboring states. These restrictions were only fully lifted in 2014. With these restrictions lifted, Southwest grew incredibly quickly, with the acquisitions of ATA Airlines in 2008 and AirTran in 2010. Southwest now carries the most US passengers domestically, and are overall the third largest US airline. They went from fighting the man to becoming him. What suffered as a result? The biggest issue is maintenance. Southwest pushes its all 737 fleet very hard. Southwest flights average only 757 miles per flight, and each aircraft operates an average of 5.3 flights a day. It's concerning then that they have a less than stellar maintenance history. Multiple engine accidents, and groundings due to maintenance issues. The groundings of the 737 MAX is not helping their operations either. At the same time, they've kept their values. In an era of fees and basic economy, Southwest hasn't compromised. You get 2 free checked bags. You can also change your ticket without any fees up to an hour prior to departure. If you need to cancel, you get the fare as a Southwest credit to be used again. There's no seat selection fee either because, well, that takes some explaining. Southwest has what is mathematically the most efficient boarding process. You sit wherever you want. Depending on when you check in, you get a letter and a number. A1 through 30 boards first, then A31 through 60. After family boarding and A-list preferred members, the process is repeated with B and C. You can pay for a business class fare to be guaranteed A1 through 15, or pay $15 to be automatically checked in before the floodgates open. But I've always gotten a non-middle seat so long as I check in just about 24 hours prior to takeoff when check-in opens up. My flights to and from DCA were both operated by a 737-700. Both had the Evolve interior introduced in 2012. Some of the 737-800s have the Boeing Sky interior, while the newest 737-800s and MAX 8s have a Heart interior. The legroom is a generous 32 inches, and the older interior remains comfortable. The wingtips of the 737s differ though. About half of the 737-700s have traditional winglets, while the rest have been refitted with the scimitar winglet. It was a cloudy night in Chicago, so the skyline was obscured by clouds. Service on Southwest is also pretty simple. For years they were known for only serving peanuts, but today they only serve pretzels on most flights. I hear there are actual snack boxes on the new flights to Hawaii though. Southwest was the first to offer streaming entertainment on your own device, and Wi-Fi is $8 for all day, which is very reasonable. There's also free texting on iMessage and WhatsApp. Landing in DCA around midnight, I got a brief view of the nation's capital at night, but we'll have a better view on the return flight. Terminal A was deserted at this hour, and I headed out past the 2 baggage carousels into the night. On the return flight, I arrived early for a trip down memory lane. I stopped by the now abandoned historic terminal. I still remember flying TWA out of here. There's also a great spotting area to the left of security in the A terminal. Terminal A has a very old concrete look from the 1960s, but was recently renovated. I don't recall being able to order food on an iPad in the days of Northwest and ATA. After some further spotting of the runway, it was time to get ready to board. We took off facing north, getting a beautiful view of Washington, D.C. at sunset. They were a little slow on the pretzel dispensing on this flight, and I'd already finished my drink when they arrived. We flew over the fires of Mount Doom, Gary, Indiana, and had a beautiful view of the Chicago skyline at sunset as we made our approach. Two sunsets for the price of one. Chicago Midway is right in the middle of the city, and the runways are quite short at 6,500 feet. It's a tricky landing with a lot of braking. If you overshoot, you end up in the middle of a busy intersection. And that did happen once, ending in Southwest's first fatal accident. After a rapid deceleration, we taxied to the terminal. So Southwest. I'm actually a big fan. I used to fly them a lot when they were cheaper, but these days I notice their fares are often higher than those of American or United. But I am happy to pay a little more for a significantly more comfortable and friendly experience, as well as a flexible ticket and free bags. If that's all you'd like to see, go ahead and click that like button and subscribe for more flight reviews. But if you'd like to hear more about the channel, keep watching. Let's talk about the growth of this channel over the past year. Like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, let's break it up in terms of phases. Phase 0 was my first attempt of filming flight reviews and figuring out the tone of the channel. These videos include food at Midway, Lufthansa 747 business class, Ryanair 737, SAS Plus on the A320, SAS A340 business class, Croatian A319 business class, Spirit Airlines, and Lufthansa Euro Business. While I am proud of the work on these videos, none of them did particularly well, and I edited them poorly on Shotcut while recording on a malfunctioning headset. The flight reviews dried up around the end of September. I committed to a schedule for the kickoff of Phase 1 on December 1st. I also had a real camera for filming business class reviews, and switched to editing in DaVinci Resolve. Phase 1 included Air Canada 777-200 business class, Air New Zealand Domestic, Air New Zealand 787 business class, Qantas Trans-Tasman 737, Qantas Link 717, Qantas A380, American 787, and Qantas A330. I believe these videos are a marked increase in quality from Phase 0, and I started to nail down the snarky and comedic voice I use to this day. I made plenty of mistakes, and many folks were unhappy with some of this content. I was made aware that the intro I used from YouTube royalty-free library was used by Simply Aviation, which I had never seen. Most of the videos had already been edited and uploaded, but I made a note to change things for my next videos. Phase 2 kicked off on January 18th with Cathay Pacific 777 business class. I was really proud of this video and thought it was a marked improvement from my prior work, but it remains with only a few thousand views. On January 30th, we passed 100 subscribers. That took 8 months. Phase 2 continued with Hong Kong Express, where I really settled on the jokey tone of this channel. This tone continued with Bangkok Airways and Thai 777-300 ER business class. I snuck in a lingering Phase 1 American 787 Dreamliner that marked the first of my many criticisms of American Airlines. At this point on March 15th, I was averaging a little over 200 views a day and had fewer than 200 subscribers. Then something happened. YouTube started recommending my Qantas A380 video. A lot. I have no idea why. I think it's okay, but it's hardly my favorite video. Daily views rose to 600, then 3,000, then over 5,000. Subscribers poured in. In 20 days, I went from 200 subscribers to 500. I kept releasing Phase 2 content, United Basic Economy, which was incredibly fun to make, and Air Dolomiti to celebrate 500 subscribers. None of these videos were as popular, but Qantas A380 passed 60,000 views. That's real YouTuber levels. But what the YouTube gods giveth, they can also taketh away. Just as quickly as the impressions and views materialized, they disappeared. Overnight, channel views declined by 94%. I continued with Phase 2 videos, like JetBlue Embraer 190, and American A321 Main Cabin Extra, but we were back in the hundreds, not thousands. Subscriber growth continues, but down by an order of magnitude. We will hit 1,000 this year, I just have no idea when. I published the last of the Phase 1 videos, Qantas A330, 2 weeks ago. Sorry to all my Australian friends, this will be the last of the Australian content for a while. As disheartening as such a slump is, when I started this channel, I told myself I'd give it a year to see if it gets any traction. I believe that it has. The growth has really been great since only 100 subscribers in January, and I'm eager to keep pushing onwards and upwards. And I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on this journey. So let's talk about what is coming up on this channel. There's a lot of Phase 2 reviews already filmed and ready to go. These include, in no particular order, Air Canada 777-300 Business Class, a re-review of their signature service, Air Canada Embraer 190 Business Class that had a 6.5-hour delay, Thai A350 Business Class, my favorite review so far, Thai AirAsia, EasyJet, and a pre-Project Oasis American 737-800 from good old DCA back to Chicago. I'd consider this Southwest review the start of Phase 3. I still need to work on filming takeoffs, especially in the dark. My iPhone just doesn't cut it, and my big camera is too bulky for economy reviews. I'm sure you noticed this review featured a brand new perspective, and that comes from an Insta360 One X. I'm also thinking of incorporating a GoPro as well. If you watched How I Booked Galapagos, then you know some of what's coming soon. 4 flights in Copa Business Class to Quito and back. Avianca, operated by Aerogal, A319 Business Class out to the Galapagos. In September, I'll compare crossing the Atlantic on an Iberia A350 and an American 787 in economy. There'll also be some regional European flights on Iberia and Vueling, however you say it. Then in October, another around the world will yield the following. American 737-800 First Class. Right now this is non-Oasis, we'll see what happens. Qatar A350 1000 Q suites from Houston to Doha, and then connecting onto Malé on an A350-900 also in Q suites. I can't begin to say how excited I am for these flights. And yes, I will make Q jokes.
The end of Q.
He's back!
From there, it's Cathay Pacific A330 Business Class to Hong Kong, and then on to Osaka. Finally, to return, it's ANA 787 Economy from Matsuyama to Tokyo Haneda, and back to Chicago on a 777-300ER, also in economy. Any interesting domestic flight I'll also film, though I think I've said what needs to be said for American and United. Given the demands of my day job and the frequency of these flights, at some point I'll need to go to once a month. I also have some more how I booked and credit card videos, but those really haven't done well, so are on ice for the time being. Before 1,000 subscribers, I can't use polls on the community tab, so I'd ask your opinion in the comments here on the following. How long should my videos be? I try to keep things snappy at around 5 minutes, but could easily go 10 or 15 minutes on most videos, and even longer on long-haul premium reviews. Again, I really want to thank everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. I do this as a fun hobby, and I'm so glad that others enjoy this content as well. I'm pretty sure it's not just my mom creating duplicate accounts at this point. I'll see you on the next one.